Welcome to Martini Time. So, here we are on Tuesday in Blackstone, Virginia, the center of the world. And let's see what's in the news, at least my news. So today, I learned a new word, and it's called patois, P-A-T-I-O-S. It's a French word. And let's connect it up to this. This is a Buddhist prayer wheel. And you put little prayers in here, and you spin the prayer wheel like that. And this is from Tibetan Buddhism. And they have a lot of them. A friend of mine gave me this. It's really neat. It's kind of like a little world, a little spinning world of prayers and meaning. And a patois is I have it on my, I'll put it on my website when we talk about this, but a patois is a closed language system. It would be like they're in the Caribbean and Jamaica, different places, in France, but it's a language that is kind of like closed, and only the people inside of it can really understand it. So it's a closed language system. So I entitled this talk the Patios of Trump. But I'm getting a little prayer wheel spin off of that from writing about Alex Jones today. You know Alex Jones on the InfoWars? Have you ever watched him? Well, he's really he's an anger delivery system. That's what he delivers, anger. So he's a patois. Now, the way I'm using patois as a metaphor is that it's a language system includes rhythm and emotion. It's not just words. It's words, symbols, meaning, and emotion, and bonding. You see, so we bond with our language. So if we are in a patois, we're in a bonding system, and we bond emotionally. You don't bond with just information. You don't bond with just definitions in the dictionary. You bond emotionally. You bond unconsciously, because the emotional language is unconscious. It's symbolic. So there's two levels of the language. There's the emotional dimension of the language, what you feel, and then there's the intellectual or information, the content. So you have the cup, the emotional bonding system, and then you have the content, which is in and out of the cup. Talk about anything. But the way you talk about it is the bonding. So families have their rhythm. Churches are good for this. I mean, you listen to a black preacher or evangelical system, a preacher, it's emotional delivery. You may not be sure what they're talking about, but you sure feel it. So that bonding is an experience, you see. So the internet now, we live in the information age. And within our lifetime, within my lifetime, certainly, I've gone through several ages. My wife grew up here in Blackstone. And Blackstone in the 40s, 50s, was a space-time specific patois, or language system. The people that grew up here and bonded, going to school, have a kind of a patois, or a closed emotional bonding system. They all bond on their memories, and they all kind of like have the same inflection in their language, and they all have the same viewpoint on reality, pretty much. There's a certain slant or view of their reality, and they carry this through times. And when they have their high school reunions, they update their patois. They have memories, and they go back and relive high school. I can't do that because I moved every 2 years, so I didn't grow up in a patois. But anyway, that age is gone. So now we live in an information age. And it's created by the media. And by the media, I call it internet, TV, cell phones, laptops, the whole works. Billboards, advertising, media. And so media now is kind of like the warm waters of the Atlantic that generates patois or hurricanes. So a hurricane is a metaphor for a closed system. You can't get in there. And it grows larger, you see, by bringing in more energy. So energy comes rushing into it and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So we're creating patois all the time on the information age. You can create a YouTube patois. Or if you create a YouTube that goes viral, it's like you've got a little spinning top that won't stop and it just keeps drawing in more and more viewers, and then you can start making money. I guess, I haven't. But anyway, you see the idea of the information age with the warm waters of the internet and the platform, you see, are the conditions that's creating closed systems, closed realities. And when you get into like Alex Jones or Trump, I entitled this the Patios of Trump, just so you would feel, what the hell is he talking about? So Trump is kind of like a closed emotional bonding system. It doesn't really matter what he's talking about. What matters is the emotional bonding of the people in his patois. And it's emotional. And it's using symbolic language. Like the wall is a symbol. It's not really about a real wall. It's about a security and protection from the invaders, from the other, you see. I'll keep them out. I'll keep the virus out. I'll keep the diseases out. I'll keep us pure. And they'll see how. So when you have a wall, what's on the inside, you see, is a patois. It's a closed emotional bonding system. And people feel empowered and secure and certain. And membership, atonement, at one month. You see, we're all one here. And they communicate each other with other on the information age. You see, it's not really like a small town. A small town patois, a closed little system, is only limited by the boundaries of that town. So Crewe is a different system, that's the neighboring town, is a different system from Blackstone. Those that grew up in Blackstone, well, Crewe is the other. So the football opponents, and whatever. So you have competition between these closed systems. Those within the system feel at one. It's a tribal thing. And it's emotionally bonding. That's why families bond, and you are emotionally bonded to your family. And if anybody attacks your family, it's hell to pay, you see. Because they are you are them. All for one for all. So these emotionally bonding systems are being created now by our information age. It's a new phenomena. You see, before the information age, closed systems were located by physical areas. So like people that lived in the mountains would create a closed system. Or, cities are hard to create them because they're all mixed up. So you get different parts of the countries that creates these closed patois, these systems, you see. And they become very insular and protective because it's a closed system. It's bonded, you see. I know for Blackstone, it's very difficult for an outsider to come here and feel at one with Blackstone because you don't have the bonding of the history of growing up here. Not to mention the liberal conservative situation. Or the white. So black, racial people have a closed system. So you have a white nationalism is a closed system. Black people can't come in. See, so these closed systems now are being spawned by the information age that is like the warm water of the Atlantic. And all you need is a center, you see. You take this little prayer wheel, right? See, all you need is a center around which the forces go, you see. Around which they, I don't know, why is my thing not working? Anyway, you see this is like the vortex. It creates a vortex. It creates a, well, you see them in the toilet or in the tub, you know, when you pull the plug, and the water goes woo like that, you see. Well, this vortex, you see, is a energy creating system that it's like the snake eating his tail. And so we're creating these realities on the warm waters of the information age where anything is possible. You see, in Blackstone, growing up in the space-time closed system of a small town with its family networks, you see, it was very stable. Everybody knew where everybody lived. Everybody knew what everybody did. Everybody, and if kids could go out, the whole town looked after them. It was a very safe and stable place. But now we live in emotional closed systems floating on the internet. And we can create anything we want. Alternate right, alternate left, alternate middle, alternate facts, alternate truth. How many worlds can we create? You see, we're multiplying worlds. Because on the internet, anything can be anything. Just like in Photoshop, you see, it used to be you got a picture, you pretty much trusted that picture was reporting what it took a picture of. Now, everything's Photoshopped. You can create anything. And look at our movies. My God, it used to be movies were still almost still camera. The movie reported what you saw, you see. And if they did any digital work, it was really fake. You know, they had to bring in stuffed animals and stuff, or models and things like that. Now, digital technology is liberated, and you've got Avatar, you know, and you've got Inception that creates digital dream worlds. And the actors are just in front of a green screen. They're not actually in the Arctic in an ice castle or something. It's all digital. We can create. God is dead. Everything is possible. And by God, I mean the space-time grounded reality of physical facts, like Blackstone, as a metaphor. You know, a physical, concrete world that was stable like a rock, very slow to change. Now, your world can change overnight. You can wake up and your world's gone. Now, I mean, we still live in physical world, like houses and streets and stuff like that. But our emotional world, our information world, our identity world is all cut off from the ground, and we're off in alternate worlds, you see. And so we choose the world we choose. And just look at TV. You can see the change there. When TV first came into existence, you had one channel and two, then three. ABC, NBC, CBS. And then suddenly cable came in. Now you have multiple worlds. Each cable channel is a world, is a reality, and it tries to sell it reality to you. Come on in. Come on into my world. Come into Mr. Rogers' world. You see, come into my world. So each cable channel, and then that keeps multiplying. Now we've got all kinds of new like channels and worlds are multiplying like cereals and Walmart. Cereal started out with like one or two. Now go to Walmart. You've got a canyon of cereals. And so with worlds, we're creating worlds upon end, you see. And it's all because worlds today are information-based, and a reality is a world is a closed system in which the people are emotionally bonded together in that world. So it really doesn't matter what the world is communicating. What really matters is the emotional identity we have with it, the feeling we have with it. People go to a church and they don't really care about the theology. They really care about the feeling of belonging, the feeling of being welcomed. Oh, you're like us now. You're with us. You're on our boat now. You're with us. Welcome. Come in. Come in. You're with us, you see. We're all going somewhere together. Oh, that's so great. I was so alone out there in a little rowboat. Now I'm on this big cruise ship. Where are we going? Oh, well, we don't really know. We just like going. You see, so it's all kind of like these emotional cruise ships of realities that invite us on, and because whatever our little eccentricity is, whatever our need is, we can find a world that fits us. Corporate America is doing that. Every corporation is a world. It's called a brand. And it has its people that even tattoo the name on their bodies, wear it on their clothes. I'm a Nike or whatever, logo, that whole bonding with a corporate world. A corporation is a little whirlpool that supplies you with the hope of salvation through their product. You get their product, you're going to be at ease, and you're going to feel good and satisfied, you see. And when your product goes, well, this one I had bored with this, well, the next, wait a minute, we got one coming out now that's better than that. So it's always the next best product. Always, well, this one will do it. This one will satisfy you, you see. So all these little worlds are spinning around out there. If you just step back a little bit, it's like the information ocean is just got a little storms, hurricanes of worlds spinning, spinning, spinning. And some will disappear and new ones will come up, you see. And it's all because we're grounded now in abstract language. Language is abstraction. Language is an abstraction of the concrete world. So when I say martini, you see, that is a word that means martini. But this here is the concrete. This has a taste. This is the real martini, but it's not. So I don't drink the word martini. I don't even know when you say, what is the taste of this? I don't know. I can't describe it. Say, what does it taste like? Well, you can't describe it. Well, here, try it. See? You can't describe it because it's the taste of life, you see. So the abstraction lifts this off into a language now, and then we think we're drinking a martini when we talk about a martini, or God, or anything. We eat the recipe instead of the menu. We eat the menu instead of the food. So this, as you can see, we spun off here on another world. We created a little world here, a little Buddhist prayer wheel, just on the idea of Alex Jones, because I was listening to him before today, and I realized that what he is, just like cigarettes was a nicotine delivery system, he is an anger delivery system. So if you have anger, you go to Alex Jones. He'll hook you up. Doesn't matter what you're angry at. See, the thing about anger in Alex Jones, he just needs the new things to point to that makes him angry. So you don't get by pointing just to one thing. You have to point something every day. Right? That's why you don't get bored. There's nothing worse than boring anger. You want to have exciting anger, you see. New things to be angry at. You feel like you're doing something. Feel like you got your center. You're powerful. You're powerful with anger, you see. I'm fixing the world, damn it, you see. So there's all these anger worlds out there. And then you have the worlds where it's just going to be us in there. And we'll get rid of the enemy and the others, you see. A little Trump patois. So think about this. Look at the world from this wide-angle view, from up a little higher, and look at the world we live in now, because we really have to understand it. Like I'm 80 years old, and I've gone through radio. I grew up on radio, and then TV, and then the internet. And the old internet when it was just coming up, and now you got this explosion of cell phones, the interconnected social media. These are all evolution of the information age, from just the physical material world to a digital information world. And we have no idea what kind of a fishbowl we're living in. I just got a new fish. The other one died, little beta, old age. And he put him in this round world. So he swims in a round world. But what if I had a square bowl? So he would see the world as having corners in it. Now he sees the world as being circular. Make it square. He would assume the world is square. You see? He would not be able to see the bowl from outside of it. So we're in an information bowl and we can't see it from the outside of it. We have no idea that the information bowl is shaping the world we live in. Even though we invent the information bowl, it's changing us and we don't realize, because it's going to change us in ways we had never imagined. Well, I'm getting two messages here. One, my chime said quit, and I got a phone call. So let's stop there and think about that. We're in an information fishbowl. See you tomorrow.